Welcome back to Aggie Sports Overtime. Joining me now in studio is the only head coach in the history of Texas A&M women's soccer, fresh off of a Final Four appearance and the most wins in a single season for the club, Coach G Guerrieri. Coach, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Now, last year, obviously, during that Final Four run, you're trying to soak it in. You're focusing on the next opponent. Now that you've had some time away, can you really describe what last season's run was like?
Well, it was, if you look at it just in black and white, I mean, we only went one step further than we've gone so many times before as far as getting from the Elite Eight into the College Cup or the Final Four. But that was a huge step and a big marker now for where the program is. The acclaim that we've received, not just here in Texas, but all around the country. I think it shows a real separation point of us and 95% of the programs out there, or maybe 99% of the programs out there. So it's been a lot of fun. It's nice that we've had a little bit of time in between seasons to kind of enjoy that, and it has set the bar for where we want this program to go and how we want to go a little bit further than that this next time.
You look at that team heading into this year, 9 seniors depart from that squad, but you do return players who saw some key minutes. What do you think of this year's team? Obviously, it is early. You'll really start to work with them, I would think, in August.
Well, it's college sports, and so the thing about college sports is they are college kids. They come and they go. Within 4 years, they matriculate out. The class that came in and just left was obviously one of our more successful classes, but they're just one of a multitude of great groups that have come through Texas A&M soccer. We have another one of those groups coming in with our freshman class right now. So, we'll on paper, I think a lot of people will say, hey, the Aggies are losing 8 starters, but they don't finish the sentence and say, but Texas A&M is going to allow them to bring in some more players to come in and to kind of spice it up with what is already coming back. The cool thing is for us is that it's kind of a fresh start with a really talented roster, and we'll see where we can go.
Now, there are some that when they look at your schedule for this year have that wow moment and they go, wow, look at that. Another difficult schedule on paper, a matchup with the defending champion Florida State in Tallahassee. What are your impressions of the schedule? I know every time we talk, you appreciate a challenging schedule. When you look at this one, what do you see?
Yeah, well, that's what we want. We want to play teams that are going to push us and that are going to prepare us. I mean, our goals are to win championships, are not just to do pretty good and come in second. It's to win when it really counts. So we'll take on several teams that were in the NCAA tournament last year. We'll take on several teams that have won their conferences that are used to the same types of experiences that our players have. And we're going to be a young team, so there are going to be some mistakes made. There are going to be some issues that we will have an opportunity to learn from. The key will be having ourselves prepared when it comes time to crunch time. In the meantime, I think that we're going to host some great games. I know that one of our goals is to sell out Ellis Field this year. I think people who have been following this team for a long time knows what a special place it is to be there as a fan, how close you are to the action, and how much we put an emphasis on attacking and really attractive ball. So I'm really excited about what's coming. It's been a great off season, but there's nothing better than getting started again.
Spoken like a true coach, obviously. Now, the past 2 weeks, we have been celebrating the life of John David Crow, and many in Aggie land talk about what he meant to women's athletics. He did hire you. What are you going to remember most about the former Texas A&M athletics director?
Well, I think you think of him first as a man, and the fact that if John David was going to do anything, he was going to do it the right way, and that, I think that was the best legacy that he left for Texas A&M. That hey, we're Texas A&M. This is how we're going to get it done. We're going to treat people the right way. We're going to do it for the right reasons, and we're going to do the very best that we possibly can. At his memorial service, Lynn Hickey, who was the women's basketball coach and head of women's athletics when I was hired in '93, she really talked about how in those days it took a personality and it took a larger-than-life character like John David Crow to really give women that oomph to put them over it. And for myself, I take a lot of pride in the fact that I was the last hire that he made before he stepped out of athletic administration, and he would remind me of that every time we saw. He said, "Coach, I'm taking a lot of confidence in this next season, and I'm really proud of what you've done." And just the fact that a legend like that knew who you were and took pride in and kind of got a lot out of what we were doing. You know, all I was trying to do was live up to his standards, and you know, to call him a friend was something that I will always cherish.
And he certainly will be missed. Now, we talked about it before, so we'll transition here lastly, because tomorrow the women's national team will go for a World Cup championship and a rematch with Japan from 2011. They cleared that Germany hurdle that everybody said was going to be the big challenge. When you look at that, we're going to have you use some of that expertise and break it down. What do you think we'll see? And maybe if I can get you to give me a pick, but I don't want to put you too much on the spot.
Well, you know, this is the third major tournament that Japan and the United States have met in the final. You know, we met in 2011 in the World Cup final and kind of found a way to lose that game. We were winning late in the match, ended up going into penalty kicks and losing there. Then got our revenge in 2012 at the Olympic Games, where the United States beat the Japanese to win that. So this is kind of the rubber match of it. I know for the players and for the coaches with our team that they're really excited about this matchup. This is the matchup that they wanted for a lot of those reasons. Now, there's a lot of easier teams to play than to play the Japanese, but you know, I really think that. You know, the German game was a good matchup for the United States because the Germans are a physical, you know, they're pretty predictable on how they're going to play. The fact that they beat the French was actually, that was the national team that I personally was the most worried about because of what they do off the ball, the way that they play as a team. It's the same thing that the Japanese will give our players a lot of trouble with. They work better off the field. They're a great team. There's a lot of team in what they do. They're not a bunch of just, you know, pure individuals on it. So I think that the game that the U.S. just had against Germany will prepare us well for what it's going to take from a team standpoint. The fact that we're not giving up goals is pretty special. So obviously I think that we're going to win. I think it'll be probably either a 2-0 or a 2-1 victory for the United States. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be one of those things that a lot of people remember as a mighty battle. And you know, all the watch parties around the country, here in Bryan College Station as well, but all around the country, with seeing little girls with their faces painted in the red, white, and blue, and is really exciting. And it's neat for a soccer person to see the kind of support that these guys are getting, and I hope that people will remember this and come out and support the maroon and white the same way this fall.
Very well said, Coach. Thank you for coming on. We will now throw it over to Lee.